What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on DraftKings for Wednesday, April 21st. Now, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. And finally, let me know in the comment section who is your favorite and least favorite of my contenders for today's slate. We are rounding out the bottom of my top 10 with O'Shea Brissett, Steph Curry, John Wall, Anthony Edwards, and KEVON Looney in the outside looking in. Who will be my favorites, my top 5 plays for today? It's time to find out. Coming in at number 5, we're going to Golden State shooting guard, small forward eligible Andrew Wiggins. He's 6,800, projected for 37. Goal is 46. He's in the optimal lineup 17% of the time. Now, you guys know how much I love the shooting guard, small forward eligibility, but there's a lot more to like here. Wiggins is about a fantasy point per minute guy. He plays 36 minutes, but in this case, for today, Golden State gets the best matchup you can get. They gain 4.9 possessions over their average by taking on the Washington Wizards, the fastest team in the league. 5 extra possessions is massive. Can't help it. I got to get to Andrew Wiggins then. 24% usage, 22 points, 6 boards, 2.5 assists, a steal, a block, and arguably the best matchup you can get in DFS. Plus, you can roster him at shooting guard, small forward, guard forward, and utility. Big time flexibility on Wiggins. It rarely makes me feel good, but I gotta go to Andrew Wiggins today. Next up in the number 4 spot, we're grabbing a center, just 4K for DeAndre Jordan, projected for 26. The goal's 36. He's in the optimal lineup 18% of the time. It's looking like the Brooklyn Nets are going to have 8 active bodies for tonight if Blake Griffin sits out for rest on the back-to-back. 8 bodies means that people are going to have to play some additional minutes. And DeAndre Jordan is in a unique spot where he can only play minutes at one spot. Everybody else is sort of a little bit more flexible. But in order to soak up additional time, you need someone to be playing the 5. Jeff Green can only do so much of that. Otherwise, you start stretching people to the wrong positions. So I'm giving DeAndre Jordan 26 minutes. He's a fantasy point per minute guy. It's low usage. We're talking 9 points, 9 boards, maybe a block, maybe 2 blocks if you're lucky. Pace neutral spot against Toronto. I think it all sort of just works out mostly because of the price tag. But really, for 8 active bodies, the flexibility, it's not flexibility. Like DeAndre Jordan's minutes are really variant today. You could tell me he plays 18 and Jeff Green plays every other minute at center, and I would believe that. But I think if they only have 8 guys, they need to lean on DeAndre Jordan just a little bit more. And if that's the case, a 4K center that's a fantasy point per minute guy that I assume is starting, that's going to provide some value even on a monster 12-game slate. Next up at number 3, we're going to point guard, shooting guard eligible KYRIE Irving. He is 9,900, projected for 55. The goal is 56.5, and he is in the optimal lineup 18% of the time. Now, Kyrie's playing north of 36 minutes in a lot of these games. I gave him 37. He's got the same matchup for DeAndre Jordan. So I've got him right now at 1.49 fantasy points per minute. That is an elite rate. No surprises, though. 33% usage, 29 real points, 10.5 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 stocks. I don't see a real way to get away from Kyrie when there's no James Harden and there's no Kevin Durant, and you only have 8 active bodies, including yourself. He's going to do whatever it takes. He's going to take every shot that he wants. He's going to get to the rack as much as he possibly can, which is actually a decent spot against Toronto. I don't love the $9,900 price tag. He's a little bit more cost efficient on FanDuel, but that's not stopping me. You could roster him with the MPE at point guard and shooting guard, which helps out a ton. And he's just a different player without the studs. 1.5 fantasy points per minute will do that for you. I'm a huge fan here. I think Kyrie is one of the preferred pay-up options on the slate. There's one other guy that I like to pay up for. Got to go to him too, but he is one of the 2 main key pay-up options for me on this slate. The other pay-up option is coming in the number 2 spot. That would be shooting guard Paul George. He's 9,300, projected for 52. The goal's 55. He's in the optimal lineup 21% of the time. I'm giving Paul George 36 minutes. We've got no Pat Bev. We've got no Serge Ibaka. We've got no Kawhi Leonard, which means George gets a massive usage bump, a massive assist bump. I've got him at 1.45 fantasy points per minute here. 31 real points, 7 boards, 5.5 assists, 2 stocks, and a pace-up spot against the Memphis Grizzlies, who actually will probably be playing a little bit faster with no Jonas Valanciunas on the floor. That also makes it a little bit easier for Paul George to get himself into the paint, get himself to the rim. Should be a bit of an improvement. I will happily pay the $9,300. I like the slight discount over Kyrie Irving. That extra $600 is what's getting Paul George into the 2 spot. Now, before we get to that number 1 contender, one last reminder, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Then head to Twitter, follow me at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. And finally, let me know in the comments section who is your favorite and least favorite of my contenders, and who's the contender that you think should be on this list that you do not see. I want to know what I'm missing for today's slate, everybody. And finally, the number 1 contender, if he plays, that would be center Goga BITADZE. 4,200, projected for 30. The goal's 37. He's in the optimal lineup 28% of the time. Now, Goga is questionable right now with an ankle injury, and if he is out, we're probably opening up even more value for the Pacers, who are walking wounded right now. But for now, I'm assuming the Goga is playing and starting. I gave him 26 minutes, 1.17 fantasy points per minute, 18% usage, 12 points, 7.5 boards, 2.5 blocks, and a pace-up spot against an Oklahoma City team that he should actually be able to dominate against. And I use the term dominate loosely. Dominate for a $4,200 center that's decent on offense. This is the good spot for Goga. And if he is in the game, which we should know this is a 7 o'clock start. We should have the news, so I'm not super worried about it. Pay close attention to live before lock. But Goga is a really good per minute guy. And in a matchup against Oklahoma City as a starting center, this to me is the best value you'll find. Goga BITADZE is the number 1 contender on today's slate. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders on DraftKings for Wednesday, April 21st. FanDuel version of this video is in the books. Go watch it. The Process Show, 12-game breakdown, already done. Go check that out. It's archived on the YouTube channel. Strategy Show with Lofty, so you're going to need your caffeine for that one. We got to go through 12 games. And finally, live before lock tonight, myself and Greg Ehrenberg taking you all the way up to 7 on a day that is surely to have a ton of news in the ramp up to 7 o'clock. Good luck tonight, everybody. I will talk to you guys again tomorrow morning with another edition of the Contenders.